Dear colleagues, thank you so much for this honor. I feel incredibly humbled to receive this award. I would like to thank the award committee for recognizing the accomplishments of my research. As is every PhD dissertation, mine was also a product of valuable inputs by numerous people, especially my supervisors Tommy Jensen and Anselm Schneider. Hence, by using Isaac Newton's words, I can state that if I have seen further or achieved something, it is by standing on the shoulders of these giants. My dissertation is a step towards enhancing management and organization studies engagement with one of the greatest challenges of our time, namely refugees. Although there are many organizations involved in and benefiting from refugee migration, our academic field has abstained from seriously engaging with this phenomenon. Hence, with this research, my aim was to show that we have much to offer in terms of furthering the understanding of refugees. Why is this important? The growth in international migration and the so-called refugee crisis in Europe attest the importance of the phenomenon. Refugees are not something expected to go away anytime soon. Armed and deadly conflicts, as well as environmental destruction of human habitats, coerce millions of people to leave their homes and countries in a desperate attempt to find a safe haven. We can only expect more and more refugees, and thus there is a need for further research that can shed light on various aspects and dynamics about refugees. Refugee flows are not only something chaotic, but also something that is organized. In my study, the phenomenon is referred to as organizing refugees, an actor network that consists of people, their practices, supporting non-human actors, held together by a narrative. Organizing is a verb and implies that something is constantly being made. Accordingly, I investigate refugees in the making, and I do so by challenging a tacitly accepted idea of changing epistemological conditions while keeping reality, our perception of the world, separate, as a plural reality, which means that different refugee realities are viewed as separate entities standing apart in homogeneous fields. By employing actor network theory, particularly Anne-Marie Moule's version, I altered the notion of reality and tried to understand it differently, as a multiple, interconnected, and interdependent. It is a dramatic shift. When something is made and remade, it gives rise to different ontological worlds. It is not just about different perspectives. And such different realities interact. However, their coexistence always comes with more or less tensions. It is these tensions that my dissertation focuses on, and it is where Moule's version of ANT is especially useful. In other words, my research is an investigation into how different practices interact in the making of refugees and what happens in those interactions. Refugees move around, and therefore I need to be mobile and adapt to such dynamics. Studying the organizing of refugees is a rather complex challenge that demands presence at various locations over a long period of time. My story covers 5 years of extensive empirical fieldwork that stretches from Bulgaria to Sweden, from Greece to Finland, and in between. It includes numerous visits to train stations, bus stations, refugee camps, refugee homes, and the offices of many governmental and non-governmental organizations. Studying refugees entailed various challenges. One such challenge was access. How do I get access to such people and places? How do I enter a refugee camp? How do I get access to speak not only to the frontline actors at the train station, for example, but also to those who have higher authority in governments? How do I behave in these diverse environments? It involves embodying multiple roles as a researcher, shifting between realities myself, winning the trust of people, especially of refugees and volunteers that engage with them, getting them to talk to me, and keeping in touch for a long time was a huge challenge. Such endeavors require one to get out of his comfort zone, to go out in the field and participate in the practices these people go through. When it comes to the time at my desk, writing about refugees was another great challenge. It involved different considerations because of the engagement with such vulnerable human beings. It involved constant grappling with ethical decisions and dilemmas. It was not easy, but it was worth it. The diversity and multifaceted nature of refugees makes it impossible to explain by a single theory, and there are calls for interdisciplinarity. And certain disciplines really try to cooperate. However, I try to show that it can also be achieved by viewing and enacting refugees as a multiple reality. By drawing knowledge from different disciplines and trying to integrate methods and concepts from diverse schools of thought, both for generating empirical material and for analyzing that material, I tried to set up a framework for transdisciplinary research on refugees. I chose to write a monograph because it allowed me to construct stories, to do narration of stories that are thoughtful and rich in description. But it also gave me the freedom to structure the text in a way I saw fit. Instead of a standard preface, for example, I begin with a poem that, in summary, tells the story of my research and PhD journey and aims to set the reader in motion. I end the dissertation with another poem that aims not only to evoke emotive responses, but also to sketch out the possibilities arising from a multiple approach. Besides text, I use photos that help the reader visualize what realities refugees go through. Methodologically, through the use of poems and photos, I try to show that we forget or ignore that there is a room for experimentation with and learning from other disciplines' methods that can enrich our own text and methodological efforts. Conceptually, by offering a time multiple approach to organizing, or in other words, a way to see and understand the chain of connected times, I try to further our understanding of time and organizing. Following Moore's philosophy, the theoretical contribution of my dissertation is in its attempt to challenge sense-making's taken for granted approach of engaging with, seeing, and writing about reality. Whereas in Weich's sense-making there is a harmony and relatively stable reality, or making sense of reality and then stopping it, I don't see it like that. I don't stop reality. I kind of accept that there are multiple realities. My reality is in a sense unstable, a continuous flow. Sense-making, as Weich put it, is about bracketing, framing, isolating cues. However, such actions exterminate certain hardships and complexities, power struggles, and vulnerabilities. Instead of viewing realities as independent, through analytical tools that help perform a multiple reality, I show that it is possible to view it differently. Although most of the time refugees shift between realities and survive, sometimes some of them find it difficult or impossible to do so and end up dead. They might drown, they might get shot, or they might die from diseases or hunger. Seeing and understanding these shifts enable different ways of engaging with and acting upon reality. Hence, understanding reality as multiple could have profound implications on organizing. Sometimes it could be the difference between life and death. By recognizing refugees as a multiple reality, instead of focusing on only one issue or one solution, there could be different sets of responses. It might open other possibilities to address emergent political problems. For that to happen, there is a need to think of refugees as all-encompassing stories: hunger, famine, wars, climate, economics, security, humanity, that touch all of these features of political life, not just one among many. This could contribute to bringing together the type of multi-layered responses that are required in order to address such a complex and boundaryless issue. This is my dissertation in a nutshell. Let me end by saying that now is the time to challenge taken for granted assumptions. Now is the time to engage with the great challenges we face. And having in mind the recent developments that transpired at Leicester University, I believe now it is more important than ever to continue to question the politics of managerialism, as well as adapt the business school research to what society can really benefit from. Thank you.